Oh, Mike. Oh my God.
Yo,
All you they got me put,
huh?
I made you pull it on what started the oh G.
All right, y'all. Give me a second. Give me 1 second. All right.
Weekly.
All right, y'all. Look, this SPY, it's the weekly. Um, this was the consolidation that we was in for a long time. We created a gap out that consolidation. Last week, we tested that gap with this candle. I'm not saying that we can go higher into it, but I'm personally preparing for like the next leg lower. So from a weekly perspective, we got this gap right here, like we said.
Oh, Mike, let been there.
It ain't. He don't see him on that.
You not on waiting room. Yeah, man.
He coming? He coming? When? All right. So the market, like I said, the market started selling out of the consolidation. We created this fair value gap, a weekly fair value gap. We traded to it last week, used it as a form of resistance. Also, this this is a volume imbalance right here. Akeem, remember we talked about this last week? The volume imbalance right here, that's inside of the gap. So SPY came to check that off. Not saying
Yeah,
that
I see his high selling. That's the volume imbalance you're talking about.
right here. So you see how these candles don't touch? I'm sorry, the candle bodies don't touch.
Okay.
It's just wick, the sharing price right here.
All right.
So this is a volume imbalance.
Okay,
So
when the bodies don't touch, that's a volume imbalance.
when the body, yeah. So when you got this big red candle right here with the wick, and then this candle opened up down here and sold off and touched right here. So these two wicks share price on this candle, but this void and space right here,
Yeah.
between these two candles, that's a volume imbalance.
All right. So when we see a volume imbalance like that, what do we look for next?
So most times when you have a volume imbalance like this, the market gonna try to come clean it up, meaning it's gonna try to put a candle next to it, right? So that's why I'm saying that we can trade higher into this gap before we sell off again, or the market could be like, all right, look, we're gonna close above this gap. And then once we close above this gap, then we're going higher. But when you have an inefficiency like this, the market just tends to put price next to it, meaning we putting a candle next to it. Probably it's highly likely it's going to be a candle of the opposite color. So it's going to be a green candle next to this.
Unless it open up there, Mike.
Yeah, unless we
Oh,
open up high up here for whatever reason. But just with the information that we got right now, this is what we're dealing with. So you got your gap, and then inside of your gap, you got this volume imbalance. So
what's
that's
the number on that?
on what?
The imbalance, top of the imbalance.
Top of the imbalance is 575.
Yeah, and what we at right now?
563.
Nah, I can't do that. I was about to say that bitch opened up there. That bitch gonna sell off. All right.
But
And so the gap is always gonna be, 2 wicks not touching.
so the gap is gonna be three. It's three candles. 1, 2, 3. When the first candle and the third candle don't share price, you got a gap. See?
And all right, you just put the block by the 2 wicks.
Yeah, because that's where the gap starts. That's the price.
All right.
See, all gaps not gonna look like this. Some gaps you probably sometimes you won't even have a wick. It'll just be three candle bodies, but that's still a gap. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when you have candle 1, 2, 3, and candle 1 and 3 don't share price, you got a fair value gap. Right.
And then for the when Mike talking, he said the imbalance, they usually want to put a candle next to it, but like for a gap fill, that could just be a wick.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
It could be a
Yeah, I
green
get
wick.
what you're saying.
Yeah, so that box could be a wick, but usually you're gonna get a actual candle printed by that imbalance Mike talking about.
All right, I see what you're saying.
All right.
So so going into the week, depending on, now I'm gonna be honest with y'all, bro. Like the market has been moving a lot lately based off of like news and tariffs and all that stuff. And like when the market is doing that, it's safe to, it's still, in my opinion, it's still safe to trade, but you just gotta be like on your P's and Q's when you're trading, because President Trump will come out and say something and it'll shake the market, and the market will start selling, or the market will start running to the upside. And depending on what kind of position you're in, you always want to cover yourself, meaning that you always want to have your stop loss in place, or you know what I'm saying? Because like when Trump in office, the market just is volatile, because he loved to have press conferences, he loved to tweet, he loved to say crazy stuff. And sometimes the market responds to that. But just from a technical standpoint, I'll be looking for the market to kind of like trade back into this gap again before selling off. And then if it does sell off, the first price target that I'm looking for is the low of this wick right here, which is 549. That'd be my first price target before going down to, lower price targets, like these relative equal lows down here, 539, and so forth and so on. And mainly lit down here, 510. Then I know we talked about 480, but that's what I'll be looking for. Now, if the market decides to reverse and trade higher this week and close above this gap, then my narrative now changes. Now I'll be looking for the market to go higher, take out these all-time highs up here at 613. But this gap is really, telling me what we're gonna do, right? So if we continue to respect this gap, even if we consolidate next week, but if we respect this gap, I'm still expecting prices to go lower. Let me see. So let's go to the triple Qs and see we got the same scenario over here. So yeah, we got two gaps on the triple Qs, right? So look, okay, you see how this gap, it's not really wicks, it's just candle bodies, but it's the
Yeah.
same preference. You see what I'm saying? So I want you to like be able to recognize like when you see a gap, because like I believe once you start being able to see gaps on the chart can open up a little bit more. You're gonna be able to understand what's going on a little bit more.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like just training your eye to be able to see it, and then kind of like looking at how the market responds to them,
Hmm.
and
But I
then
see it never came back to touch the gap. It kept trading below it.
kept trading below it, right? So even if the market for the triple Qs, even if the market decides to come back and test this gap, I'm selling this gap. I'm not no ifs, ands, or buts. I'm selling that. I'm selling that. But it's not going to be on the triple Qs, of course. It's going to be on the futures. But you get the gist of what I'm saying.
Hmm.
Because my bread and butter setup is, look, if you got an all-time high, you got a high right here. You got a high. The market comes to sweep that high with this candle, and it reverses. And when the market reverses, it creates a gap. I'm looking for the market to trade back to that gap so I could sell it. Because when you have swing highs and swing lows, you got liquidity below and above those highs. So if you have a swing high right here, right? So this is where the liquidity was, right? So when you have liquidity up here, the market comes to sweep the liquidity, and when it does that, it reverses and it gives you a gap. That's my bread and butter setup. Like that's the setup I look for each and every day in the market when I'm trading futures.
Hmm.
So when it happens on a big time frame like this, on a weekly time frame on a triple Qs, it definitely got my attention. This gap up here. Now, if we struggle to get through this gap, then it's murder she wrote, of course. But this gap right here, like this is the gap that started the sell off.
What's the top of your bottom gap, Mike?
496.
No, that one at the bottom, right before that's 500.
496.
496.
Yeah.
All right.
So so this going forward, I'm gonna give you a little homework this week. Like do you have a trading plan? Like you got a trading view?
Yeah, I'm down. Yeah, I got it.
All right. So look, when you pull up your chart, when you pull up SPY or the triple Qs, mark out your gaps, and then throughout the week, this week, kind of like study what happens. Like now, granted, this is a weekly gap, so it's gonna take a whole week of trading for this gap to get filled or closed above or get rejected and start
All
trading
right.
lower. But just pay attention to how the market responds to these gaps. Like when you see a gap on your chart, just pay attention to how the market responds to it, and you're gonna start to grasp the idea of why we kind of talk about gaps a lot. Why we gravitate
So
toward.
look at it on a daily chart when I open my trading
Look
view.
at it on the yeah. So look at how the market is responding to it on the daily, and see how it's trading. That way you could start like kind of like getting an idea of okay, like see even if you got to write down and take notes, and if you come back to the Zoom next week with questions, that's even better. You know what I'm saying? But it's like you starting to gain an understanding of what you trade instead of just listening to us say, all right, sell this at this number or buy at this number. You're going to have an idea of how to trade, and you're going to be comfortable taking your own trades. Even win, lose, or draw, you're going to be comfortable taking your trades because you'll be like, all right, this is my setup. This is what I know. This is what
Yeah,
I've observed in the market previous, so this is what this is what I'm going to trade. See what I'm saying? Instead of
yeah.
but this mark out your gaps on the chart, watch how the market responds to it, and then like you said, go down to a lower time frame like the daily and see how the market responded to it. Now on this chart, this is the daily chart, this is that gap. So the market rejected the gap once, twice, 3 times last week. Rejected it, right? So
Yeah, I see that.
that's a sign of weakness. It's a sign of weakness. So unless we got some news coming out that the market, whatever, I don't know. But I'm from a technical standpoint, from what the market, the information that I have right now, I believe that the
It'll
market
keep
will
either
trade lower.
consolidating or trade to the downside.
It's going to expand to the downside. Yep. Because this, believe it or not, this is consolidation. But when you have a gap, a weekly gap above us, and we keep rejecting at that weekly gap,
Yeah.
right here, rejection number 1, rejection number 2, rejection number 3. The consolidation, I'm expecting an expansion to the downside. So it can manipulate a little higher, like I said, and then boom, you know. But we'll see. But that's just by you noticing that this was a consolidation, like you catching on to it, like you starting to see the things that you need to see in order to be a profitable trader. Like, because once you understand what consolidation is, because that's all the market is doing, is either consolidating, expanding to the upside, or expanding to the downside. Right. So when we consolidate, we had a leg lower, then we consolidate, then we got this gap that's above us that we keep rejecting, and we consolidate beneath it. So what the market tends to do is it'll manipulate back into this gap, have the market thinking that we about to trade higher, and then it'll reverse and trade lower, right? And I think the number that we had on triple Qs was like 423 or something like that. So that's like the overall price talk that we got it going to before it could actually really probably just start becoming bullish again and trading higher and higher and higher. Yeah, 428. What's up, baby?
Oh, Mike, what's the bottom of that? Where we consolidating that we can't break?
484.
484.
Let me
So
go to it on the weekly.
I just sent y'all in the chat. If we get a day above 484, y'all take that number I sent y'all in the group chat to feel it. It's the 3rd week, Mike. I know you don't like hearing that, but
that's a weekly, huh?
It'll be a Friday. Yeah. Akeem and Supreme. I don't know if y'all trading spy and shit, but I got 496 for the end of the week. And what was the other one? 496 for QQQ. What I put in there? 480 for the spy. I don't know if Mike won't go over that because he don't trade the gap, but usually your 3rd week of gaps, they usually tend to fail. And if they don't, then that's what he's talking about. He's probably gonna sell off. So I don't know if y'all do lottos. I wouldn't recommend it. These guys are a little bit more dangerous in our group, so that's why I'm telling it.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
You trying to shoot me? Oops. Which way we going off the bag?
Y'all got that? Y'all cool with that? So I can move on. I can move on to like what other stocks that we looking to trade, man. Tesla, Nvidia. I'm gonna go to Nvidia. Let's go to Nvidia. Nvidia look Nvidia look weak, man. Nvidia look weak. We got this like the same situation we got on the triple Qs and SPY. We got this weekly gap right here that we haven't touched yet. So if Nvidia trade into this gap, I'm looking for a sell-off, at least back down to 102. Now, if it closes above this gap, then it's so the gaps is going to tell us what we need to know going into the week. If we close above this gap, then Nvidia probably going to set new highs. So I know that what was the high, like 150? Yeah, Nvidia probably going to 160, 170, probably 180, something like that. So this gap is going to tell us everything we need to know. So, but Nvidia looked weak at this point from a weekly standpoint.
But if it closed inside the gap, you will predict it's going back to the downside.
So if we close inside of the gap on a weekly standpoint, then it's probably two things can happen. We either gonna fill a gap or reverse. We're gonna fill a gap and close above it and continue to trade higher. So if you're
But
looking
closing
at
above it will kind of be confirmation that it
that's
should go to the
confirmation.
upside.
Trying to go to the upside, yeah. And then now, if the market treats you nice, you could use the top of this gap as entry to the upside. So,
Right.
for instance, if like Friday we close at 138, and then next Monday you'll be looking for an entry at like 134 to take it to 150, 160. Because
Okay.
the market it just shows you what it's trying to do. We closed above the gap. Now use that gap as support to go higher.
Yeah. Okay,
But
I get it.
yeah, so what I'm looking at right now though, it is this from my opinion, Nvidia look kind of weak right now. As the Nasdaq look weak, the whole Nasdaq look weak to me right now. But Nvidia look weak. We got this weekly gap right here. This weekly gap is gonna tell us what we need to know. If we trade into this gap and reverse, we probably come into 104, then maybe 890. So that's what I'll be looking for going into the week for Nvidia. I don't think we in no other trades that I know of. Let's see what Tesla look like. Tesla probably got the same kind of setup. Actually, Tesla look kind of, yeah. So we got a volume imbalance right here on Tesla. So this must be a monthly gap. Oh no, this is this weekly gap right here. We close beneath it. Nah, this should be used as a form of, this should be used as a form. If we trade back to the bottom of this gap, it should be a form of resistance. Because this is now what we call a balanced price range. So you got your gap that was created that took you to the high. Then we reversed, came back down to that gap, closed beneath it. Now this price range is balanced, meaning we did the same thing on both sides. We traded higher and we traded lower right back to it. So now we balanced.
I'm trying to see the gap. Show me the three
So
candles I should be looking at.
So this is the gap that I got highlighted. This candle 1, 2, 3 right here.
All right.
So this is the gap that took us to the upside. Then we traded back to it. We closed beneath it. So now it should be a form of resistance. Now, I don't know how low Tesla gonna go, to be honest. But if we use this inversion as a form of resistance, then Tesla could go to 183, even 169, to be honest. So I'll be looking for when Tesla start trading at like 272 around this area, I'll be looking to see how it's responding to it. Oh yeah, this don't look good. This don't look good at all. Especially if we close the month beneath this. If we close the month beneath 272, that's it. Because this is the monthly chart. This is a monthly gap right here. This small purple box is that weekly gap that was on the other chart that I just came off of. So by this being a month, the month ain't over yet. So we close beneath this gap from a monthly perspective. Yeah, we come and get this low right here. And that's what the low is, 138. Come and get that. So yeah. So the idea of it is just being patient. We got like this is the last week of trading in March, I believe. Maybe we got, hold up. Let me see something. We got, yeah, we got.
That's the monthly?
This the monthly, yeah. So the bottom of this gap that we beneath right now is
275.
is 273, right?
Oh, don't do me that. Say 275.
All
I've
right.
been stalking it.
So if we get a close, if we close a month below 273, 272, that area, Nvidia going to 138. Man, I'm sorry, Tesla going to 138. My bad. Tesla, this Tesla going to 138. So this week really gonna tell us a lot about what we're doing in the market, because it's the last trading week of March. Also, like, we looking for setups going into the month of April. So if we get these setups, so if we closing beneath these gaps on a monthly perspective, on a weekly perspective, because this is the last trading week of March, then that's gonna pretty much let us know that the market is not done selling yet.
And you said that's a NASDAQ stock, huh?
Tesla, yes, and NASDAQ stock.
And Nvidia too?
Yeah, all of them pretty much look the same. All of them pretty much look the same. Even the triple Qs, all of them look the same, right? So now it's just being patient and waiting for this week to end to see where we get closures, and then you could go into April knowing that, okay, we probably gonna continue to sell. And then you, like we always talk about, the swing lows that's just outside by themselves, just chilling. That's the ones that the market come take out. The swing lows, that's where your liquidity is, below your low and above your high, right? So even if you're looking at this was the high. This was Tesla high for a long time, right? We swept that high. Notice how when we swept it, we never closed above it. We never closed above it. Then the market reversed. Boom. So it's highly likely that the market gonna give you a monthly gap. It's gonna be right here. But also we got this in, so we close below this gap that's already been created, you got an inversion. So you sell that down to 140, you buy you some 140 puts. That's the trade. So we just watching this. Like, so basically what I'm saying is I'm looking for a closure beneath this monthly gap. Let me draw the monthly gap out since we're on the monthly. All right, you see this gap? Candle 1, candle 2, candle 3, right? So
Yeah, I see.
if we get a closure beneath this gap, look for this gap to act as a form of resistance. Now, we could trade as high as 300 and trade into the gap and then sell off. But just know that this is what we're looking to sell, this gap. So let's just say, for instance, let me delete this off the screen right quick. So let's just say, for instance, that this is the closure of the month, right? This is the monthly closure, right? So now, not only did we invert this gap down here, but we also created another gap, right? So when you in the market, what you look for, well, what I look for liquidity to be swept, which was above this high. Liquidity was swept, the market reversed. When the market reversed, it created a gap. So even if we trade higher than this inversion, this is the end all be all for me. So once we trade back into this gap, I'll be looking to get short. Boom. But the inversion might stop us. So you got two reasons to sell, right? And I just want to point this out. You'll have two reasons to sell. So this is the gap that took us to sweep the liquidity, right? So if we close beneath that gap, it should act as a form of resistance. Now, if we trade higher going in, so let's just say we opening up April next week, or today, Monday, we open up April. And let's just say we trade higher above the inversion, like, you got to be looking for this gap to be sold. And then your price target should be 138. Because just like we took out this liquidity to the upside, we're going to take out this liquidity to the downside. Because, of course, so if I explain it like this, so when people started seeing how Tesla was bullish, right? So you saw this gap on Tesla, then we closed above it, and then we used it as support, started trading higher. So when people was like buying calls for Tesla, they put their stop loss below the swing low, right? So it's a whole bunch of orders beneath this low. And just like when Tesla started selling, they put their stop loss above the swing high. Just like Tesla started selling off, I put my stop loss above this high. So it's a whole bunch of orders. There was a whole bunch of orders above this swing high. So when the market came and took this swing high out, now it's going to, naturally, you look and come take this swing low out. But you just have to be patient and wait for the setup. So it's giving, I believe that Tesla is probably going to give you 2 opportunities to sell. Now, if next week being the last trading week of March and Tesla leave a long, stupid wick beneath this candle and this candle turn green, now I don't know what, I'm going to just chill on Tesla. Like if this candle in green next week, and this a monthly candle, now I'm going to just sit out because I don't know what Tesla trying to do. But if Tesla give us a setup that we're looking for, a closure beneath this gap, candle 1, 2, 3, right? So let me put a line right here. So y'all can see exactly what I'm talking about. So this gap right here, on a monthly perspective, if we get a closure beneath this, I'll be looking to short. Now, even though we have this gap above us, that's what I'm looking. So even if the market decides to trade into this gap, I'm still confident in selling this. Is what I'm saying. I'm confident in taking this to 140.
Hey, for anybody that's locked in and listening to what Mike say, this potentially can be another golden opportunity to turn no kids at $500 to damn to 30 bands. You know what I'm saying? If you find the right contract at basically the right time, and we are in this gap to sell, you take maybe not a 140, but you take a 180 or some shit like that 2 weeks out, might be $40, $50, probably get a 160, 150, some shit like that. Whereas $50 or under, you know what I'm saying? Grab your 4 or 5 contracts, and once we come from that top and take this shit down to 140, even at 150, it's a lot of bread. I say that to say this is the same thing that we talked about maybe about a month ago when we were looking at Tesla hitting below 280 when it was at 340. $40 contract went to 2,400. So
yeah,
this can literally be, a life-changing trade for a lot of us. And just lock in on the shit, you know what I'm saying? Even if we're not discussing it, just do your own due diligence on it as well. Just keep it on the board and keep looking at the charts and see what's going on.
So what alert I need to be setting there?
You're not necessarily looking for an alert. You more so, I think Mike should have it lined out of where we should be to see if this candle gonna turn red, but you want to look to next Friday to see if your candle gonna turn green or red. If it's gonna turn green or stay red by the end of next week.
By the end of next week? All right.
Yeah. That's gonna be your monthly candle.
Yeah. So you're looking for, you basically, where I have this blue line at, you're looking for a monthly closure beneath that. So
okay.
So if you get a monthly closure beneath that, you got 2 things checked off. We close beneath the gap that took us to sweep the high. We closed beneath that gap, and we created another gap to the downside. So
okay.
That's you got 2 things checked off. Now, if we trade to 272, we could sell that.
So Paul, you saying next week you could play a weekly lotto or a monthly lotto Because this the last week in March, huh?
Well, I'm saying once we close below that, since we know what's already in play, I say look for the 2 to 3 week contract just to give you enough time for it to get there. It could get there on that following Monday or that following Tuesday. I mean, that's literally what that shit did. Tesla was at like 330, 340. It got some bullshit ass news to jump it up another $12. And literally from Tuesday to Friday, it lost $140. I think if not even if not more. It went from like 340 to fucking 274, 272, some shit like that.
So do we got an understanding of what's going on Tesla, y'all? We good on Tesla? I like how Tesla's setting up, to be honest with you. I like the other setup too, but it destroyed that setup. Excuse me. So, what's the other stock that we was looking at trading? I know it was Tesla. I know it was Nvidia. I know, Palantir. Palantir in no man's land, bro. Palantir's in no man's land. But it got the same setup, kinda. Let me see, did we close beneath this? No, we did not. No. I'm looking to see what Palantir does when it trades back to this gap, man. I don't know what Palantir doing right now. We fill this gap. I don't know. I'm looking to see what happened here. We trade back into this gap and sell off. Back down to 74, 65, maybe even 45. I don't know. Palantir in no man's land. From even like on a monthly, like, yeah, it's just, yeah, I don't like how it look. This is like a bunch of manipulation up here. I don't have nothing for Palantir, but nobody ain't no Palantir trades right now, right?
Nope.
All right. So any other stocks? Now you saw some White Mike showed you something on Twitter?
Hold on, I was about to say, let me check Twitter. Let me check my notes.
Man, this dude crazy, bro. But so outside of Nvidia and of course SPY and the triple Qs and Tesla, I like Tesla. I like that setup. I like, if it give us the closure below 272, you could take it to 140. I think that's a safe trade. So, that's it for the stocks. Y'all want to go to the futures market right quick? Let me pull it up right quick. Give me a second. Let me 1 second. I hate when we don't do this, man. There you go. Excuse me. Thank you. Together right quick. All right. The futures market right quick. Shouldn't take long. Y'all see my chart? You see, y'all, Winston, you see it? Y'all see this chart right up now?
Yeah.
All right. So just like we was talking on the triple Qs, we got. I'm waiting for bro. I'm gonna tell you, Winston. But if we trade into this gap, I'm gonna draw it out. Now I know we got a gap right here, a weekly gap. I know we got this volume imbalance right here. I know I see it. But if we continue to trade in this range, so I think this the daily range though. But if we continue to trade into this range and then we trade back into a premium of this range, we come and get this. So on the other contracts, it was like 17,000. On these contracts, the numbers changed. It's 18,000 and some change, but that's cool. But we got the reason why I'll be so adamant on selling this gap from a weekly perspective is this is the gap that started the move to the downside. And also inside of this gap, you got a breaker inside of it, meaning in other terms, you got a level inside of the gap. And also this gap is in premium. So it's like I'm selling that. I'm taking it all the way down to 18,000. Now it ain't gonna be in one trade because I'm not swinging no trades on my futures account, but I'm trading all the way down to this. So each time the market give me another sell up on a smaller time frame, I'm taking it. It's gonna be bearish trades that I'm taking. So I'm confident in the market coming down to take this out because if you look at how the market been trading, and that this is the weekly. So when we started selling, like it was nothing to stop us from going to the downside outside of this level right here. So we had this level and we opened up beneath it last week or 2 weeks ago, we opened up beneath it and kept selling. So that was it. So now it's nothing really stopping us from getting here. But what the market typically does is it retraces to at least 50% of the range or higher before the next leg lower, right? So that's what I'm looking for going into the next few weeks for the market to kind of like rebound and then boom, we go into the downside. Now, granted, this is the weekly, right? So of course when we trade in futures, we're looking for trades on smaller time frames. For me, 5 minute, 1 hour daily. So when we go down, when I go to the daily, hold up. So when you go to the daily, you got consolidation down here, right? So that just lets me know that, boom, we could be heading back to premium of the range now. And that's perfect for me because I would like for the market to, how everything is playing out on those other charts that we looked at, the triple Qs, NVIDIA, SPY, it all plays out the same way. So futures market trades a little faster and more aggressively than SPY and the triple Qs, but it all aligns with what we was talking about previously with the same gaps. So we get those same gaps to kind of like facilitate our trades, then everything is gonna line up into like what we already spoke about on the other stocks. So this is why, I got the range set on the daily, highest wick, lowest candle body right here, right? So this is the daily range that we trading in. We in deep discount of the daily range. So when you're in deep discount of the range, the market is highly likely to trade back into 50% of the range, right? But it just what happens that we have a premium gap right above that, right? So the premium is anything between 61% and 76%. Equilibrium is always 50%, right? And then you got your discount 38, 23 and lower. So we in deep discount. So I'm expecting us to retrace to at least 50% of the range, but really taking out trading back into this weekly gap and then continue to the move lower. Right. So that's what I'm looking at going into the week. So boom. So I would like it to look like something like this. Trade back into that gap and then something like that. Then once we take out this low right here, that's you could. It's probably gonna be safe to be like, all right, we can start buying stuff again. Like we can start, getting long positions. We can start buying shares, because whatever price stocks get to, whether it be Tesla at 139, whether it be Nvidia at 90, whether it be Palantir at 45, 55. With if the NASDAQ trades back to this swing low, that's the prices that you can be looking for in your stocks. So when you get those prices, it's okay to be like, all right, I'm going long. So now the number on Tesla will probably change from buying $500 calls to buying $200 calls a year out. You know what I'm saying? But the same premise applies. Like it's gonna work like this because the numbers change. The numbers gonna change, but the same trading rules and ethics apply to what we doing, right? So when the market comes to take this low out, and like how I explain is like when you sitting outside by yourself and you think nobody looking at you, we come and get you. So just because we're reversing right now, right? We probably trade back to equilibrium of the range. Boom, trade back into this weekly gap, but we come and get you. I don't have. It's like no doubts in my mind that we come and get this, because all the stocks are saying the same thing. The futures market saying the same thing. So even if you look at it like this, so you had this daily consolidation. Like we consolidated for a long time inside of this range right here. And then we broke out of the consolidation. So even if we trade back into this weekly gap, all we're doing is testing the consolidation again to sell off, take it to this low. So this is the type of price action that I'm looking for going into the week. This is what I'm looking for trading wise. I would like, now this is a daily, weekly setup. So it ain't gonna happen in a day. But I'll be looking for the market to start rebounding, like start hustling back to the upside. Then when you get up here, I'm gonna smack you back down. Come get these people about the market, and then once we get these people out of the market it's highly likely that the market gonna start running again. But that's what I'm looking for from a hold up. Yep, that's it. So from a monthly perspective, this is what I'm looking for right here, because you got a low right here and you got two. So just like I explained on the triple Qs and SPY, like when the market running, people put these stop losses below the lows, right? Boom. So there's a whole bunch of orders right here. And then if you can look at it like this, if this makes more sense. So like beneath this is just a pool of liquidity. It's a pool of nothing is down here. So the market is always looking for liquidity. So because at one point, I'm gonna go all the way. Let me make these candles bigger. Make these candles bigger. All right. So at one point, this was your swing high, right? From a monthly perspective, this was the swing high. This was the high. And then look what happened. We swept it. We swept it, and now we in the process of reversing, right? So now we coming to get, bro, you're not gonna be able to talk me out of this. We come and get this out the market. We come and get this low. And I truly believe once we take that low out, that's when the market gonna start running again. That's what it is. So, but going down to the lower time frames, like framing trades going into the week. Hold up. Hold up right quick. Let me see something. I want to update it. My bad, y'all. So frame and trade is going into the week, right? So this is the 1 hour. Like, so for my trading preference, I use the but I wish I never done. All right, hold up, y'all. Hold up. All right, y'all, my bad. I'm back. So framing a trade going into the week. The 1 hour, the 4 hour saying the same thing. We kind of rebounded, right? There's nothing in premium on the 1 hour outside of these wicks that we probably gonna take out this high, and this high. But just like we spoke, hold on, let me go back to the weekly. Just like we was talking about on the weekly, I'm expecting the market to retrace, right? So the 4 hour is in agreement with me, right? The 4 hours in agreement. The 1 hour is in agreement. Even the 5 minute, right? Like the 5 minute and the 1 hour, that's my bread and butter. You know, everybody trade. Me and Winston trade a little different, but the goal is to make money. So just like we talked about on the Qs and SPY and all that stuff, I'm expecting us to rebound to those numbers that we talked about. Now, from a monthly perspective on Tesla, that still leaves us at that gap on Tesla, which that monthly gap on Tesla, right? So even if we rebound on the futures market, like we know trading futures, like the NASDAQ can move 300, 400 points in a day with, not probably in an hour, so it can move 300, 400 points to the upside or to the downside. So the futures market trades much quicker and much more aggressively than like the stock market. But the numbers still apply. So this going into the week, like I said, not to be the dead horse, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a rebound to the upside, then the continued sell to the downside, the next leg lower, right? I don't really have a trade going into the week right now outside of, I honestly, I really don't want to trade to the upside right now. I'm waiting for the market to get to my numbers so I can sell it. So it's probably gonna be a slow week for me trading because I'm not trading unless the market unless we trade on the 5 minute, we come and sweep this liquidity down here, this low down here, and we trade into this gap, this inversion. We trade down here, then I'll probably look to get long for a little while. But as long as the market continues to trade to the upside right now, I'm not really looking to buy it. I'm looking to sell it when it gets to my destination. And then if it gets to my destination and it runs through my setup, then at that point I'll be looking to be like, all right, I'm looking to buy. But until that happens, I'm just being patient and waiting for a setup. you know. But let me just try this out right now. And I like this. So you got the gap right here. 5-minute gap. We inverted it, closed above it. So if we come back down here and test this gap down here, I'll be looking and be like, yeah, let me see what's up. So I'm gonna draw this gap on the 5. Then we got the swing low above it. So we sweep this low, trade into this gap, trade higher. I'll be looking at, you know, but that's just a 5-minute setup. The setup I'm talking about is higher time frame, daily, weekly, right? So, but yeah, that's all I got, man. If anybody have any questions, comments, and concerns about trading the NASDAQ this week, going into the week, that's all. I mean, I don't have a particular setup. I'm just looking for the market to continue to rebound to those numbers that we talked about on SPY and QQQ. I think Winston sent it to the group chat. So if y'all don't have nothing else, bro, I'll let y'all go enjoy y'all Sunday, man.
All right, I looked in my notes.
What you got?
I'm just playing. Nah, we watching Tesla though.
Yeah, so Tesla definitely Tesla, Nvidia also, and those are the two that I feel like have the best setups and scenarios to trade. I don't know what Palantir doing right now. Palantir seems like it's kind of in no la-la land. So we're gonna let you do what you do, and then
Say now. Go now. You can hear me? Can anybody hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
You up 500,000?
Hell no.
So ain't no plan right now, bro.
Oh man.
Get him, Mike.
This your group.
Y'all have a good Sunday, man.
All right, dog.
All right, bro. Y'all be good, man.
Appreciate y'all. Always.
Yes, sir.
All right, Wayne. I'm about to end it, Wayne. So I know you recorded it.